Does it pay to study the scriptures in its original language? To read the Bible always and only in translation is like listening to Bach always and only played on the harmonica. Yes, you get the tune, but you miss everything else. In Genesis 13 verse 14, it says, "And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward, southward, and eastward, and westward." Well, from our modern day lens, it seems that God is giving Abraham a sense of direction. But remember, the Hebrew language is a physical language. So, when it says here, northward, the Hebrew is shafona. The Hebrew word is shafona, and it is in reference to Mount Zaphon. So, if the point of reference is the land of Canaan, when God says northward, He was referring to Mount Zaphon, which is in our modern day located in the borders of Turkey and Syria. It is also worthwhile to note that it is also mentioned, the Hebrew word shafona is also mentioned in Isaiah 14 verse 13. "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." The same Hebrew word shafona, the Hebrew language is a physical language, then it was referring to that place of mountain which is called Mount Zaphon. So, when God says northward, He was in reference to Mount Zaphon. Southward, the Hebrew word is vanegba. So, if the point of reference is again the land of Canaan, when God says northward, He was referring to Mount Zaphon. And when He says southward, He was referring to the wilderness of Negev. Then we find the word here, eastward. The Hebrew word for eastward here is vakedama. The same Hebrew word is used in Genesis chapter 2 verse 8 in reference to the place wherein the location of the Garden of Eden. When the Bible says in Genesis 2 verse 8, it says, God planted a garden east. The Hebrew word is Mekeden, Bakedama. So, if the point of reference is the land of Canaan, when God says northward, He was referring to Mount Zaphon. When God says southward, He was referring to the Negev desert. So, when He says eastward, He was referring to the place, the ancient place of the Garden of Eden. Then lastly, He says here, westward. The Hebrew word for westward here is vayemana. It means to the sea. So then again, if the point of reference is the land of Canaan, when God says northward, physical language, Mount Zaphon. When God said southward, Negba, the Negev desert. When God said eastward, it in reference to the ancient location of the Garden of Eden. And when God says westward, He was referring to the sea. What sea? To the Mediterranean Sea. So, does it pay to study the scriptures in its original language? Yes, it pays. It gives us a better understanding and insights on some of the difficult passages that we could find in the scriptures.